Welcome to Searching a PICO Question, Part 1, Developing Keywords. In this video, we will cover how to develop keywords to use when searching your PICO question in a database. For today's video, we will be using the example PICO question for patients with an NGT or nasogastric tube would utilizing ultrasound imaging versus radiography imaging improve placement verification as measured by decreased pain. And just a quick reminder that PICO stands for patient or population, intervention, comparison, and outcome. The tricky thing about searching PICO questions like this is that library databases are not like Google. They can't understand natural language like full questions. Instead, databases are structured around keywords. These are words or short phrases that encompass the main ideas and subjects of articles. So if you paste your full PICO question into Google, you'll probably come up with some results, websites, videos, things like that. But if you paste your full PICO question into a library database, you'll likely get 0 results. This is because the database doesn't understand full sentences like Google does. So when we're searching in library databases, we need to break apart our PICO question and search it using keywords, or the main ideas of our question, to match to the keywords of articles. To come up with our keywords that we're going to use to search, let's first break down the PICO question by its 4 PICO elements. Laying it out in a table or chart like this can be very helpful for visualizing all the elements of your PICO question. So for this question, our patient or population is patients with a nasogastric tube. Our intervention is ultrasound imaging. Our comparison is radiography imaging. And our outcome would be improved placement verification of NGT measured by decreased pain. Our next step is to take that question breakdown and turn those phrases into search terms or keywords. To reiterate, the keyword is the main idea or concept behind our question breakdown. So for each part of our PICO question, we will distill it down into its main idea. To search for the patients that we are identifying in this PICO question, we would search the term nasogastric tube. For our intervention, we can look at ultrasound. Our comparison will be radiography. And then for outcome, we'll want to look for things that include both tube placement verification and pain as our measured outcome. You can see that for each part of our PICO question, we've gotten rid of the extraneous words and just focused on the words that contain the main idea of what we're talking about. When searching our PICO question in a database, we're really going to focus on the P, I, and C elements of our PICO. This is because typically your outcome will be aligned with those P, I, and C elements. So if we're looking at patients with nasogastric tubes, and specifically ultrasound and radiography, we can assume that the studies are usually going to be talking about placement verification, and we're also going to hope that pain is what their measurement is. Oftentimes, though, you'll need to read through the abstract of any articles you find to make sure that their outcome measurements are actually aligned with your PICO question. If you're having trouble finding articles, it can often be helpful to add or subtract your outcome element from your search to see how that affects your results. Just be sure to read through the resulting articles to make sure that they actually align with the measurements in your question. So now that we've identified our search terms from our PICO question, we're also going to think of some alternate terms to use. This is because usually there are multiple ways to describe either a medical procedure or a medical device, such as a nasogastric tube, and we want to make sure that our search is encompassing all of those synonyms. For example, if one of your keywords is something like depression, you'll want to also search for synonyms of the word depression, like major depressive disorder or clinical depression, just in case the articles that you're looking for use that term instead of just depression. Including these alternates in your search strategy will make sure you're finding everything about your topic using all synonyms and alternate terms. So to find alternate terms, we're going to think about what might be synonyms for our search terms. If you need some suggestions, you can also do a quick search in Google for synonyms or alternate terms of your keyword. This can be especially helpful for medical terms because there might be both formal and colloquial alternate terms for various devices, procedures, and body parts that might be interchangeable. So in my searching around for alternate terms, for nasogastric tube I found nasogastric intubation and gastrointestinal intubation. So I'm going to add these as alternative keywords. Similarly, I can look up alternates for sonography and X-ray and come up with things like ultrasound, ultrasonic, and diagnostic X-ray. Our final step is to take all of these terms we've come up with and create a search strategy. A search strategy is just a librarian term that means putting together the keywords that you're going to search in a database into a single string of text. So here you can see the search strategy I've come up with for each part of our PICO question. You can see that I have put an OR in between each of the alternate terms for my keyword. Putting OR in between search terms is what tells the database that these words are synonyms for each other. For example, in our P element, I could see that it will retrieve articles that use either nasogastric tube or nasogastric intubation or gastrointestinal intubation. The database will look for all three of those terms for that part of our question. You now know how to take your PICO question and break it down into keywords to search in a database. To learn how to find a database and search within it, please watch parts 2 and 3 of this video series. If you have any questions, please reach out to the library via our 24/7 chat or via email.